Hello guys, good afternoon. I want to start our math lesson for Monday, which is going to be 13-5, by reviewing our dollars and cents that we've been learning about throughout this topic. Since it's been a while, we were on spring break for a week, it's always good to review. So we're going to go through our dollar bill and our coins before we get started with the video, okay? So here we have the dollar bill. This is our paper form of money, or we call those bills. And this one is the $1 bill. We see the ones in the corner. We see the label $1. And we now know that George Washington is on the dollar bill, our first president. So this is the front of the bill, and this is the back of the bill. Also says $1 on the back. Okay, now let's review our coins. We have the penny, which is 1 cent. There's our cent symbol, which is the copper-colored coin. The penny is the copper-colored coin, worth 1 cent. Then we have our nickel. Our nickel is worth 5 cents. 5 cents. See the cent symbol there? We have the dime, worth 10 cents. 10 cents. The quarter, which is worth 25 cents. The half dollar, which is worth 50 cents. And finally, the dollar coin, which is worth 100 cents or $1. There's our dollar symbol. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry, but we remember that the cent symbol comes after the amount of cents. The dollar symbol comes before the amount, okay? So the dollar coin is worth 100 cents or $1. The dollar coin is worth the exact same amount as the dollar bill. They are just two different forms of money. One's paper, one's a coin, okay? And the dollar coin is gold, and this is one version of it. There are other versions with George Washington on them, but we remember that it's the gold coin. Okay, really quickly one more time. Penny, 1 cent. Nickel, 5 cents. Dime, 10 cents. Quarter, 25 cents. Half dollar, 50 cents. Dollar coin, 100 cents or $1. And the dollar bill, $1. Okay? So we are going to be working on topic 13, lesson 5, making an organized list. Okay? So we've learned how to make organized lists to solve problems. And today we're going to learn how to use an organized list to show the different ways to make the same amount of money. So a couple lessons ago, we learned about equivalent amounts of money. You can use different combinations of coins to make the same amount of money or bills. So let's think about this. If we wanted to buy something that cost 12 cents, what coins could you use? There is not just one right answer here. We can use different combinations of coins to make the same amount of money. So if we want to buy something that costs 12 cents, what coins could we use? Let's go back to our coin list. One way to do this is with a dime and 2 pennies. A dime is worth 10 cents. Pennies are 1 cent each. 10 plus 2 is 12. So you could use a dime and 2 pennies. You could also use 2 nickels and 2 pennies. Remember, a nickel is worth 5 cents. So if you have 2 of them, 5 plus 5, that equals 10, the same as a dime. And then those 2 pennies, 10 plus 2 is 12. Another way you could do it is with 1 nickel, which is 5 cents. And how many pennies would you need to add to that nickel? If you have 1 nickel worth 5 cents, how many pennies would you need to make 12 cents in all? 5 plus 7 is 12, so you would need 7 pennies. 1 nickel and 7 pennies would equal 12 cents. 5 plus 7 is 12. And finally, if you just wanted to use all pennies, you know that a penny is worth 1 cent. So how many pennies would you need to make 12 cents? You would need 12 pennies. 12 pennies equals 12 cents. Okay, so those are some different combinations to make that amount of money. We couldn't use anything bigger than a dime because our next coin would be a quarter. A quarter is worth 25 cents, and we only needed 12. All right, let's get started with our video, and then we'll do the practice page.
Read and understand. You have some quarters, dimes, and nickels. You want to buy a banana. How many ways can you make 30 cents? Let's find out. What do you know?
Okay, what do we know so far? We want to buy a banana. We see here that the banana costs 30 cents. And we were told that we have quarters, dimes, and nickels. So that's what we know so far. We know we want something that costs 30 cents. We have quarters, dimes, and nickels. And we need to figure out how we can combine what we have to make the correct amount to buy the banana.
You know you have some quarters, dimes, and nickels. You want to buy a banana that costs 30 cents. What are you trying to find out?
What are we trying to find out here? Well, we're trying to find out how we can come up with 30 cents to buy this banana using some combination of the coins we have: quarters, dimes, and nickels. Review really quickly. How much are quarters worth? How much are dimes worth? How much are nickels worth? Quarters are worth 25 cents. Dimes are worth 10 cents. Nickels are worth 5 cents.
You want to find out the different combinations of quarters, dimes, and nickels that make 30 cents. Plan. An organized list shows different ways to make the same amount. Tally marks record the number of coins.
Okay, so we have not talked about tally marks in a while. I want to quickly go over that. That's our vocabulary for the day. Tally marks are vertical marks, that means they go up and down, that each mean one of something, okay? So if you want to show that 1 quarter makes 25 cents, you draw 1 mark in the quarter column. This 1 tally mark is showing that 1 quarter is being used. These 3 tally marks in the dime column show that 3 dimes are being used, okay? And then when we have a line that crosses these other lines, that is a unit of 5, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th line goes across the other 4. That shows 5. And it's helpful to know that because when we see this, we don't even need to count the individual tallies. We already know that this is 5, okay? So these are called tally marks. Each mark means one of something.
What strategy is being used to solve the problem? The strategy is making an organized list. How does making an organized list help you?
Okay, so this is our strategy. We're making an organized list. We have a table here, ways to show 30 cents with our quarters, dimes, nickels, and then on the right side, the total. And we want to know, how does this help us? Well, it helps because it shows the different ways to make the same amount of money. We can visualize and see the different combinations of coins to make the same amount, 30 cents.
One answer is an organized list helps you keep track of all the possibilities. Solve. Let's look at how this list is organized. It starts by listing the combinations of coins with a quarter and nickel and some dimes. You see 1 quarter and 1 nickel that make 30 cents.
How does a quarter and a nickel make 30 cents? Add their amounts up. A quarter is worth 25 cents. A nickel is worth 5 cents. 25 plus 5 is 30. Sorry guys, I'm going to take a pause right here. Miss Lola is barking. All right, and we are back. So we just found out that a quarter and a nickel makes 30 cents. 25 plus 5 is 30.
You also see 3 dimes that make 30 cents.
How do 3 dimes make 30 cents? Well, each dime is worth 10 cents. 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. 10, 20, 30.
Next, it lists all of the combinations with dimes and nickels.
Okay, let's look at the dimes and nickels combinations. 2 dimes and 2 nickels. Each dime is worth 10 cents. Each nickel is worth 5 cents. 10 plus 10 is 20. 5 plus 5 is 10. Let's add those two amounts together. 20 plus 10 equals 30 cents. Another way we could do it, one dime and 4 nickels. Once again, a dime is worth 10 cents. Nickels are worth 5 cents each. Let's add that up. 10. And then if we skip count by 5s to add the nickels, 5, 10, 15, 20. 10 plus 20 is 30.
You see 2 dimes and 2 nickels that make 30 cents. You also see 1 dime and 4 nickels that make 30 cents. Then it lists the combinations with nickels.
Okay. And the last combination we see is just nickels. How many do we have? Remember, this is a unit of 5, so I don't need to count each of these tally marks. And then we have one more. 5 plus 1 is 6. We can skip count by 5s 6 times to figure out what that equals. Each nickel is worth 5 cents. We'll skip count by 5s 6 times because we have 6 tally marks here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 6 nickels equals 30 cents.
You see 6 nickels that make 30 cents. Look back. The list shows you can make 30 cents 5 ways using quarters, dimes, and nickels.
I want you to think about our next biggest coin after a quarter is a $50. Well, we didn't have any $50, but even if we did, would we be able to use a $50 to make 30 cents? How much is a $50 worth? A $50 is worth 50 cents. The banana cost 30 cents. If we wanted to use exact change to buy that banana, we could not use the $50 because it is too much. 50 is bigger than 30. Same with the dollar coin. At the store, you can get change back, but we want today to show ways to make exact amounts of money.
How could you check to make sure all of the combinations equal 30 cents?
How could we check? We go back and add up the amounts of each of the combinations, just like we did before. For example, add up the quarter, 25, plus the nickel, 5, and we see that that makes 30 cents.
One way is to use coins and count how much money you have. Now you know how to make an organized list to solve a problem.
Okay, so we're going to practice making an organized list to solve a problem. I have our practice page up here. So if you want to do this with me, you can, or just watch. You will, of course, be sending the digital quick check to me for this lesson. Okay, and this is the last lesson in our topic. We'll have a reteaching lesson tomorrow, and then Wednesday will be the test day. Okie doke, problem solving, making an organized list. Use coins and finish the list. All right. Number 1, Adrian wants to buy a plum for 80 cents. He has half dollars, quarters, and dimes. Find all the ways he can make 80 cents. Okay, so I suggest that you guys have a whiteboard or some piece of paper or something that you can use to practice making this list and adding up different amounts, because it's not always easy to do that off the top of our head. So we know that the plum that Adrian wants costs 80 cents, and we know that the coins he has are half dollars, quarters, and dimes. So we have our table here with our half dollar, quarter, and dime columns, and then the total amount, which needs to be 80 cents since we're using exact change, okay? Let's review. A half dollar is worth 50 cents. He has quarters worth 25 cents, and he has dimes worth 10 cents. Excuse me. Half dollars, quarters, and dimes to make 80 cents, okay? The first one has been done for us. We see that Adrian used a half dollar and 3 dimes to make 80 cents. Now let's add that up. We know that a half dollar equals 50 cents, and dimes are 10 cents each. So if we have 3 dimes, that's 10, 20, 30. 50 plus 30 equals 80. Think of it like 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3 equals 8. So 50 plus 30 equals 80. That is one way he can use his coins to make 80 cents. All right. Let's think of other ways he can use half dollars, quarters, and dimes to make 80 cents. Well, we've already used the half dollar and dimes combination to make 80 cents. Would a half dollar and a quarter work? Let's think about that. If we had, and I'll draw it in right here so we can practice together. If we had 1 half dollar, that equals 50 cents, and we used, let's try 1 quarter. Let's see how much we have so far. A half dollar is worth 50 cents. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Add that up. 50 plus 25. You can stack if that helps you. 50 plus 25 is 75 cents. Well, we're not quite at 80 cents, but the only coin Adrian has left would be a dime. A dime is worth 10 cents. If we have 75 cents so far and we can add a dime, that would put us at 85 cents. So that won't work. That would be too much. So that tells me that I cannot combine a half dollar and a quarter. I will go over the amount using those coins because my only other option would be to add another half dollar, to add another quarter, or to add another dime, and any of those options will put us over the amount. Okay? So I'm going to delete those choices, and instead of starting with a half dollar, this time I'm going to start with a quarter. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Okay? If I add another quarter, that's another 25 cents. That puts me at 50 cents. 25 plus 25 is 50. Okay? Since I'm at 50, I know that I can keep skip counting by tens to get to 80. 50, skip count with me by tens, 60, 70, 80. Well, lucky for us, we have coins that are worth 10 cents. We need to add how many dimes to make 80 cents if we have 50 so far. We have 50 cents, 60, 70, 80. See how we did that? 2 quarters and 3 dimes makes 80 cents. 25, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that combination works. And last one, I want you to think about, since we now know that we can skip count by tens to make 80 cents, how many dimes could we use to make 80 cents exactly? Dimes are worth 10 cents a piece. I can skip count by tens to get to 80, and I will do it by drawing my tally marks. 10, 20, oops. Sorry guys. 10, no, 20, 30, 40. Remember, when you get to 5, you have to cross over. 50, 60, 70, 80. There we go. We have 5, 6, 7, 8 dimes. 8 dimes makes 80 cents because each dime is worth 10 cents. So these are the ways Adrian can make 80 cents to buy that plum. $1/2 and 3 dimes, 2 quarters and 3 dimes, 8 dimes. All of those ways make 80 cents exactly. And a lot of this, guys, is trial and error, like I did with the second option. I started with $1/2 and added a quarter, and I realized that wasn't going to work to make 80 cents. So it's just trying things, seeing what works and what does not work. Number 2, Beth wants to buy some crackers for 23 cents. She has dimes, nickels, and pennies. Find all the ways she can make 23 cents. So this one's a little different. We have some different coins here. We have a penny and a nickel instead of $1/2 and quarter. And also, notice the place value of 23 compared to 80. We now have a digit in the ones place. So it's a good idea that we have pennies here because pennies are worth 1 cent each, which will help us with the ones place. Okay, so we have dimes, nickels, and pennies. A dime is worth 10 cents, a nickel is worth 5 cents, and a penny is worth 1 cent. And then we have our total amount on the right side, 23 cents all the way down because we want exact amounts to make 23 cents. And we are going to be filling in this organized list to find all the ways we can make that amount, all right? So they have done the first one for us. They've done a couple of them, started them at least, okay? So let's see what we have here. We have 2 dimes and 3 pennies. Let's see what that makes. A dime is worth 10 cents. Pennies are worth 1. So count your dimes first. 10 plus 10 is 20. 21, 22, 23. Perfect. 2 dimes and 3 pennies makes 23 cents. 20 plus 3 equals 23. Let's skip down to where they have started this for us. We see there are 4 nickels. 4 nickels. Each nickel is worth 5 cents. So we can skip count by 5s 4 times to see how much that equals. Do it with me. 5, 10, 15, 20. 4 nickels is worth 20 cents, but we need 23 cents. what coin do you think we can add to get to 3 more cents? We have 20, we need 23. I hope you said penny, because our pennies are worth 1 cent each, and we need to add 3 cents. We don't have any coins that equal 3 cents. We have pennies that equal 1 cent, and we can add how many of them? 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have 20 cents with nickels and 3 cents with pennies. 20 plus 3 equals 23. Okay? Let's go back up here and do some trial and error. Let's start with 1 dime this time. I used 2 dimes up here. I'm going to start with 1 dime this time, and I want you to think about, how could I use nickels to be the equivalent of 1 dime? Because I know that 2 dimes and 3 pennies makes 23 cents. This time I want to use 1 dime, some nickels, and some pennies to make 23 cents. Okay? So if a dime is worth 10 cents and a nickel is worth 5 cents, how many nickels do I need to equal the same amount as a dime? 10, 5. Well, I know the double fact, 5 plus 5 equals 10, so I can use 2 nickels to make the same amount as 1 dime. 10 plus 10 equals 20, and now I can use some pennies to finish it off. I have 20 cents so far. I can add 1, 2, 3 more pennies to make 23 cents. So it's always good to think about different ways to use less value coins to make the same amount as a higher value coin. So I looked up the first option. I saw that I used 2 dimes and 3 pennies. This time I want to use 1 dime, and I thought about, how can I use nickels to make the same amount as this other dime? 2 nickels equals 1 dime. And then I finished it off by adding my 3 pennies to make 3 cents. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 3 is 23. All right. Last one. What if I wanted to just use pennies? How many pennies would I need to make 23 cents? If a penny is worth 1 cent, I would need exactly 23 of those to make 23 cents. And since I don't have enough space in my box to make 23 tallies, I'm just going to type it in. So that would be 23 tallies. And you could do them in groups of 5, 10, 15, 20. That would be 4 groups of 5 plus 3 more tallies would make 23. That's how you could do that with pennies. All right. Number 3 goes back to the Adrian problem when he wanted to buy a plum for 80 cents. How many ways can Adrian make 80 cents? The way to figure this out is look at your rows. How many different ways did he make 80 cents using these coin combinations? 1 way, 2 ways, 3 ways. See that? The first way was a $50 and 3 dimes. The second way was 2 quarters and 3 dimes. And the third way was 8 dimes. So he can make 80 cents 3 ways using his coins that he has. Number 4, Which coins would Beth use to pay for the crackers with the fewest number of coins? All right, so going back to Beth's table up here, she wanted to buy the crackers for 23 cents. We want to see which coins she would use from her dimes, nickels, pennies to pay for the crackers with the fewest number of coins. Well, the easiest way to figure this out is to look at your tally marks. And we want to see the fewest number that she used. Looking in the penny category, I know that that could not be correct because 23 is a lot of tally marks. That way uses the most coins, 23 coins. Okay, so we know C right off the bat is not going to be correct. Dimes and nickels. Let's see how many dimes and nickels she used. Just dimes and nickels? Well, she didn't use dimes and nickels. So that's not going to be the correct answer. She used dimes and pennies, she used dimes, nickels, and pennies, and she used nickels and pennies. So no dimes and nickels. B says nickels and pennies. Is there a way that she used just nickels and pennies? Yep, right here. She used 4 nickels and 3 pennies, so she used 7 coins altogether. 4 nickels and 3 pennies is 7 coins. So maybe that's the right answer. We know it's not dimes and nickels. We know it's not pennies. She used 7 coins altogether when she used nickels and pennies. And the last choice is dimes and pennies. Did she use dimes and pennies? Yes, she did. She used 2 dimes and 3 pennies in her first combination. 2 plus 3 is 5. So when she used dimes and pennies, she used 5 coins. 5 coins is fewer than 7 coins when she used nickels and pennies. So that is the correct answer, D. She would use dimes and pennies to pay for the crackers with the fewest number of coins. 5 coins is the fewest number she can use to pay 23 cents. And last one, reasonableness. Can you make 38 cents with these coins? Yes or no? Let's look at what we have here. We have a quarter, some dimes, and some nickels. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Dimes are worth 10 cents. And nickels are worth 5 cents. And I'm going to give you a little hint here. We don't even need to add anything up here to answer this question. And you know why? Look at what the number 38 ends in. The ones place. In the ones place, there is an 8. I know that if I used any combinations of quarters, dimes, or nickels, my digit in the ones place would either be a 5 or a 0. The quarter is worth 25, which ends in a 5. The dime is worth 10, which ends in a 0. And the nickel is worth 5, which is a 5 in the ones place. So any way I combine these coins, my ones place is going to be either a 5 or a 0. What coin would I need to add to my collection here to come up with 38 cents, to be able to have an 8 in the ones place? I would need pennies. Just like up here, we needed to use pennies to make 23 cents in every scenario, because that's the only way we could have a 3 in the ones place. Our other coins were dimes and nickels. Dimes and nickels are going to give us a 0 in the ones place or a 5 in the ones place. We need a 3 in the ones place, so we need pennies. Pennies are worth 1 cent each. That is how we can manipulate the ones place. So the answer here is no. Because we have an 8 in the ones place, we would need pennies to make that amount. All right, guys, I hope this has been informative. We will do some reteaching tomorrow to get ready for our test on Wednesday. Have a great rest of your day and happy learning.